things in.
Yes.
I'm going to just make a header row at the top.
Okay.
So I'm going to say like distance, that'd be like distance from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say like time, that's like or period, or whatever you want to call it. This is going to be maybe it gives it to me in years. I need to convert it into seconds or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Distance, maybe it gives it to me, I don't know what it gives it to me, meters or AUs. We can look and see, but you type the numbers in. So, let's say it gives it to us in AUs, okay? You can get whatever database. So let's make up some stuff, like this is not the real planets, we're making it up, okay? That would be Earth, because Earth is 1 AU, that's what AU is defined. 2.4 and like 7.5, okay? And that's like 4 planets, okay? Years, so Earth is 1 year, okay? So distance, so that one, I don't know how realistic this is going to be.
That's
but
okay. It's okay.
if it's t squared, it's supposed to be r cubed. So 1/2, okay. So the year would be like 0.34. So I don't know, I'm just making it up. Okay. And then that's 2.4. So what does that come? So that'd be like maybe 4.05. I don't know. I'm just making up some more digits, so it's not going to be exact.
Yeah.
And then that's like, so that's going to be maybe like 20, whatever, 0.414. Just keep it simple for the example, okay? Put that as 0.34. So let's say that I wanted it to look nice and I wanted the digits to all be right. First thing you can do is you can change it. So for this column, see how I can select a whole column?
Yes.
Or I can select a row. I want to select this whole column. And you could change it from general to a number with a specific amount of digits. And you could tell it more decimals or less decimals.
Okay.
And you can also do that under, if you right click and tell it format cells. These are all the different, you can make it currency, date. I'm going to do number with 1 decimal place. That's what I just told it. So here, if I right click, format cells, I'm going to make it a number with 2 decimal places. And it looks like that. And then it looks the same. And then you can tell it to calculate. So the point of using a spreadsheet is you're not going to sit here and convert all the things to AU to meters by hand. You're going to tell the spreadsheet to do it. Yeah, did you not know that?
I did not. No.
Well, you have to. If you otherwise, what's the point of using a spreadsheet?
Yeah.
So you're gonna sit. So you say equals, or wait. This is one way you can do it. You say equals that, which is the distance in AUs, times the asterisk is times
Right.
1.496 E11
And how did we get A2? Did we just literally type equals A2?
equals. I hit. This is how I got it. I hit equals, and I either use the arrow keys to go over, or I click on it.
okay,
I click on
see.
it with the mouse, and then I say
okay.
times 1.496 E11.
Okay.
And the E is a shorthand for
awesome.
scientific notation.
Okay, that's.
Oh, whoa there. Sorry, whoever's gonna watch this video.
And see how these are too big, so they're in scientific notation?
Yes. Mhm.
If it gets past a certain size, it's kind of like your calculator. It puts it in scientific notation.
Okay.
And then here, I think you might be able to change it to a number that's not in scientific notation and tell it a certain amount of decimal places. But the default is that if it gets past a certain, it puts it in scientific notation. Or you can tell it to put it all in scientific notation,
Okay.
regardless of how big it is. You can do that on your graphing calculator too, but you can do it in Excel. So let's tell it to put it all in scientific notation. Scientific. There, okay. So now we want the period in seconds, right?
Yes.
So what's the conversion? So here's another way. Instead of typing equals, you can hit the formula insert function.
Okay.
Insert function. We don't actually want to use sum or average. I mean, if it was a function like we wanted to do average, we would use that. But I don't actually want to do average. I actually just want to do time. So I guess I'm just going to type it. Equals. So it's this amount, the period, times there's 60 seconds in a minute,
Yeah, and
60
minutes.
minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365.25 because of the leap year.
Okay.
And so that's how many seconds.
That is so nice.
Okay, this is much faster.
And see what I did was I went to the little dot down there,
Yeah.
and I clicked on it. The cursor changed, and I dragged it down so it did all those. But when I drag it down, it updates. Instead of B2, it says B3,
Yeah.
B4, B5.
Oh my
so that
gosh, yeah,
because
so
it
it tells you
knows
okay.
that it's a form. It's trying to calculate it for every row separately.
Okay.
And then I would go and insert a scatter plot like this. Scatter plot. No, here. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight this first so it knows what data I want on the scatter plot. This is, what do you want? T squared versus, okay. So if I do this, it's not going to be, well, it's probably not going to be linear either because I made up the numbers, but if I do this, it's not going to be linear. And you're going to realize it's not linear when you see some of the points, and you're going to say, oh, I did it wrong. Insert scatter plot. See it kind of curves up. And it's not as quadratic, but it's like an x to the 3/2 power because of the way that the Kepler's law is. So instead what I wanted was distance cubed on the x-axis, and I want period squared. So that's going to be years squared. Distance cubed is going to be AUs cubed. I'm writing the units in here so I can keep track because I'm going to make a second set in a minute that has, I'm not going to make it, but you're going to make it. It's going to have meters squared and seconds squared. So you can make both graphs. So this one's going to be equals that times that times that. A2 times A2 times A2. Because it's cubed.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I think you could do, half cubed is an eighth. Or I think you could do equals power this comma 3 to the third power. But it's honest, if it's second or third power, you might as well just say that times that times that. Or if it's squared, you might as well just say equals that times that. It's like maybe you had a column that was all different powers you want it to raise to, then you'd have to use that function power because you wouldn't know how many
Or if
times
it
to
was like a
multiply
lot
it yet.
of-
Or a lot of powers, yeah. And then look, I can select both of these and just drag it down, and it fills in. 1 cubed is 1, 1 squared is 1. 2.4 cubed is that, 4.0 squared is 16, and it just fills in like that. And then if you want to make a scatter plot of that, now you're going to find out my numbers were bad because I was making it off the top of my head. If you want to make a scatter plot of that, and it is going to kind of look like this, where the two inner planets. See, it's like 0.1, 1, 13, 400.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the inner planets are going to all look like they're on the same dot because they're so close together. If you make it really big, you can tell that there are 2 dots there.
Okay.
1 dot there, and 1
Oh,
dot
there's
there,
4 data points.
which is which is like Pluto or something. Did we use? You had to use Pluto, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
because when I was a kid, Pluto was a planet. You got to use Pluto.
Okay.
Oh, us too. When we
Yeah.
were younger, I guess. We're students.
Was it?
It was.
So view, I went back 100%. Okay. So that's how, and then you're gonna come in here to chart tools. You can either go to design and tell it add to chart element and tell it to add a trend line like that, linear.
Okay.
See how it goes to all the points? Or you could right click on it. Here, so this is the way it was. You could right click on the data set you want and tell it add trend line.
Okay.
And it brings up the options. Exponential, no. See?
Yeah.
Exponential, which is different from power, which is if you do the power, it's pretty much linear, right? Linear, logarithmic, no. You want linear because it's supposed to be that t squared is proportional to r cubed.
And the other one's the add chart element up in the top corner.
Add
Was the other way
chart
we did that?
element, trend line, linear,
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
You could put error bars. You're not going to have error bars. You could put, there's already a title, but you could put axis titles.
That would probably be good.
So for the axis title, you could say period, distance cubed. Instead of hitting ℝ3, because I did that up here because I was being sloppy, I'm going to highlight it and tell it to use superscript so that it looks nice. Distance cubed. AU. Oh, the problem is, okay. AU's cubed. Because if it's AU's and you cube it, it's cubic as AU's. Superscript. So that it looks a little bit nicer than having the carets everywhere. And maybe I do the same. And you do the same thing on the vertical axis, you would. So if I take this and tell it to do superscript, the way I highlighted the two separate things at once, I held Control and I highlighted it. And then this is add chart element, vertical, and I actually want this, copy, paste. Maybe make it a little bit smaller so it matches the other one. I'll tell you what I can do. Paste special, text only, so it doesn't paste the formatting. Oh, that didn't work, because anyway, you guys can figure it out. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then here, period, squared, versus distance, cubed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so, right. You can see the trend line. Now, this is going to be good. There's one more thing I should show you. Display equation on chart. Now here, it should be close to 1 because it's like 1 year and 1 AU. Okay, if it was in meters, it would be a totally different number. And I feel like it's going to be something like times 10 to the negative something. It's almost 0 because of what units the kilograms are in. And this should be pretty close to 0 too, which compared to the scale of 450, that's pretty close to 0, the y-intercept.
True.
You could tell it to set the intercept to 0 or not. It doesn't change the line by very much. But the other way that you can see those, if you want to see what the slope is and the y-intercept, so we're going to come down here. I'm going to say, I'm just going to put it, I don't know where I'm going to put it. Slope, I'm just reusing space right now. Slope, y-intercept, okay? So the function equals slope. And it says you want the known y's. He's giving me help here. It wants the y's, comma, the x's. So the y's are period squared,
Okay.
comma, x's. That's the slope.
So that's
it has more digits.
cool.
You can see as many. So if you're not getting enough digits here, tell it in there. And equals intercept. And it wants the y's, comma, x's.
Okay, cool.
That's
And
really
that's the
cool.
y-intercept. So
Okay.
if it's not giving you enough digits on the chart,
Check.
if they're there. It's just not putting them on the chart.
Okay.
You just have to ask it for it in a
Okay.
formula.
And what version of Excel is this that you're using? Is this like the newest one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's one of the, it's like 2007 or 2010 or
Okay, so all
2000.
of this, yeah. So regardless, like it should.
Yeah. Now look, if you, like in the really old version, it didn't have the ribbon. It had menus up here, but all the options were the same. And when you open, like, this window was the same, you just didn't get to it from the ribbon, you got to it from a
From the
menu.
menu, the drop down. Okay,
so
cool.
when you highlight this and you right click and hit format cells, that's the same. You could also get format cells from the ribbon, but I got it by right clicking because that was easier than trying to find it in the ribbon
Okay.
Got it.
and stuff
Thank
like that.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Is that
Thank
That-
you.
yeah, I think so.